Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a music podcast where a group of friends gather together to share music with each other, an album at a time. It's like a little book club for music. I'm Petey Rave, and I have glasses now. I'm a glasses guy now. Check that out. Here with me is my team, my squad, my crew. We've got David.
I'm going through a scented candle phase.
We've got Drew.
Weirdly enough, like, I've started to actually think about, like, taking care of the skin on my face. So, if you're going through scented candle phase, I'm going through oh, hey, maybe I should do something to make myself not look old as shit when I'm 70 phase.
Hopefully, yeah. I got some stuff. I got to get back into the regiment. And last but not least, we've got joining us the new face, or old face, really, because he's coming back in the fourth chair. We've got Curley.
Hi, I'm Curley, and I'm going through a dress phase. So, don't call me old face, please.
Well, a previous
Has the dress phase been like the past?
No, it's just a phase. It's gonna be fun. Just fun.
You're in California, right, Curly?
Yes.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you were in like Michigan or Ohio, like Drew and I would have said, you really want to be wearing a dress this time of year? It's a little chilly.
It's 80 degrees. Summer's already happening. Okay.
Yeah. So
we had our winter, which was it got down to nighttime 50 degrees, and now it's back up to 80.
Oh, I know that feeling. Curly and I have we're on opposite sides of the country, but we have similar lack of seasons.
Yeah. You guys remember when you watched the Super Bowl, you saw how the sun was out and there was nothing else going on? Like, that's my world.
Yeah. You just have more elevation and less rain.
We got a lot of mountains and shit, and no rain. Exactly is what we have.
Exactly. We
catch on fire. I don't know if you catch on fire out there.
No, we're wet. We're moist.
I was gonna say no. In Florida, it's floods and hurricanes. I believe it's the opposite.
And
yeah,
we're flat.
I've never seen a hurricane, and I don't know what a basement is. Okay, that's the West Coast.
Yeah, don't know what a basement either is, but it's just because we're and the tallest thing in Miami, there's no elevations. The tallest thing in Miami is whoever's playing center for the Heat. Usually.
Love it.
But yes, we're here to talk about music, though. Other than like our respective weathers, we're mostly talking about music. We eventually get around to it. We're going to talk about an album, and of course, we start off the cycle, and it's my turn, my album pick. We're talking about the newest album from a band that we talked about in our 20th episode many moons ago. Episode 20. Yeah.
What episode's this?
This is 365.
You can curse, right? Fuck.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No. We
sometimes I don't know where I'm at.
Not on my Christian Minecraft server,
dude. I don't have enough followers to care about monetizations on YouTube, so fuck it. I don't have to
the
pay
Wild
that.
West. It's the Wild East. Sorry.
Yeah,
I just am not showing my titties because.
So can I bring on like Immortal Technique and just like rant about the system for an hour and a half?
Absolutely.
I mean,
all right. YouTube won't. YouTube won't have a problem with that.
They probably
it's
do,
not
but I don't give a shit.
YouTube don't give a shit.
Also, I don't give a shit about what YouTube likes.
Do the robots detect titties? If like Drew showed a titty and it was like you have been demonetized for
nobody knows
nipple.
The problem is nobody knows. It detects some things and doesn't. They don't have to tell you what it detects sometimes. But that's neither here nor there. We're gonna be talking about an album by the band that Drew came that time, but I'm bringing this time. We're talking about We Are the Union and their latest album, Ordinary Life. Let's talk about expectations. I'll start with Drew. Drew, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
Well, being familiar with We Are the Union, I sort of knew that, okay, we're getting a ska record. but they also listened to mid-90s like hardcore, and they also like punk rock and pop punk. So I knew there was going to be some mashing of those. I also, because of what you said about the lead singer, their main lyricist, sort of going through some stuff.
Spoilers.
That I'm sure we'll get into.
Spoilers.
I stopped myself.
Literally the whole album.
He's teasing.
And coupling that with what I know of some of their new members, especially their trombone player, being into also emo music, I expected lyrics to take a turn at times. Whether that happened or not, spoilers. But
yeah, we'll see.
What I was expecting.
Yes. David, what were your expectations coming into this album?
I was expecting some energetic guitar riffs with some horns sprinkled around, but not like in the Thank You Scientist way, where they're very instrumentated, if you will, but really more just as a topping on top of the rest of the band. I usually expect with this style of music lyrics that are very straightforward, not a lot of prose, not a lot of metaphor, and that fits this style of music because this style of music and the subgenres that it is cousins to is usually about being as authentic and as raw as possible, almost to a fault. So that's kind of what I was expecting, and we definitely got that with this album because it lays all of its cards out on the table.
Mm-hmm. Curley, what were your expectations coming into this album? It froze.
Oh no. Literally, I saw him moving like 2 seconds ago.
It was moving, and then it froze him the moment I turned around. It's like Skype was decided to sabotage it. It's hilarious.
Also, the cat fucked my chest up. Like, do you see that? My chest is bleeding because cat.
Damn.
Hey!
There you go.
Computers are cool. We love computers. I have an expensive computer, and it exploded as soon as it was literally. All I heard was the last audio bit was Petey going and Kerr, and it went Kerr, and it just kept going, and then it blue screened hard.
It's like you suddenly realize it was a drop for an EDM song. It's like, and
I thought you were hyping me up. I was like, this is sick. Let's go. And then it.
Yeah, it was impeccable.
And there was a knife party track. It's weird.
What's really, really cool is being the IT guy that has the computer that blue screens. That always makes you feel real good inside.
It
happens
Windows,
to the best of us.
It's Windows
it's Windows keeping you humble.
Yeah.
Right.
Windows let me know that it's the boss, not me.
Yes.
So,
all right.
I think I'm back.
Yes. All right, I'm just gonna take it right from
edit point in.
Bam.
Leave this all in. It's good.
Yes,
it's good content.
And Curley, what were your expectations coming into this album?
I'm gonna be brutally honest. I had no expectations because I did not know this band, and I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I agreed to be in on Record Breakers while drunk because I'd actually been like in my own brain for like
appreciate
weeks.
you coming on, Curley.
For weeks though, I have been like in my own head, been like, I gotta reach out to Petey. I want to fucking be on Record Breakers again. It's been so long. I want to do it. And then like Petey hit me up before I even had the memory to do it, and I was like, yes, and what's up? Let's do it. And then I got really busy, and I listened to this album an hour before getting home today. So, and then I ran it through while setting up and everything.
Hey. There have been times where I haven't even listened to the album that I reviewed. So
don't admit that. You can't admit.
But
I can't not admit
to
it.
be
it's
fair
on
to Drew,
tape.
to be fair to Drew, it was the right artist, just the wrong album.
Exactly. Then it was really
Nice.
Google Music's fault. So
Was
which
that
is
like
why
a lot
he
of
abandoned
confusing
Android.
conversations back and forth between everybody where you're like,
It was
You know,
like
my
Google
track's
Music
number 4.
like they didn't
We
have
got-
the album. It was like weird.
Well, we got into the like B block where it's like, or the C block where it's like list songs and like how they reference like the themes and elements. And I was like, well, this song, and Petey was like, well, wait, hold on. And I was like, oh, I'm realizing that nobody's talking about any of the songs I heard.
whole different experience.
Hold
So
up, wait a minute.
for me, I didn't have any expectations, but I mean, I guess I can just describe my first experience. It was 2 hours ago, and I was driving home from work, and I was like, now's a great time to start that album listening, so I can get home and do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool, just give me everything I need. Pop punks with horns, easy peasy.
Yes.
And then I started to get to a couple tracks, and I started to feel like I got kind of called out. And I was like, man, this is starting to resonate with me in my little broken egg life.
Yeah.
Not to spoil, I guess, what we're gonna bring up later. But
We're gonna bring it. Yeah, let's talk about some of the themes elements. Yeah.
So what? You like to go to a breakfast at a diner every now and then? What's the big deal?
no,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
Fucking love diner breakfast. Sorry.
Well, let's talk about the album musically. This album is, at its core elements, is a ska-punk, pop punk, ska, album. It's all those elements put together. You know, it's very like bringing the third wave influence, but like emo influences, but like mainly ska punk and things like that. And the core, what we've been kind of dancing around, the core theme of the album, and then it's a core part of it, and then it explores other aspects. But Reed Walcott's coming out as a trans woman, and her journey and her self-acceptance and her like finding her new identity, and it's also like her exploring her like mental health and things like that, and all kinds of things like are there lyrically, and it does it well, and it does it in ultimately a celebratory way, and it is at its core like it is.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Thought my computer crashed again.
No.
I think the internet blipped and you went a little like hype man again. Sorry.
Like, oh my god. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's my internet. Comcast can be a bitch sometimes. Yeah, and it explores those themes and elements, and it uses the ska punk elements really well, in really fun ways. There's fun guitar riffs. There's fun. There's the upstroke guitar. There's fun punk guitar riffs. The horns don't have a like an overwhelming presence, but they're there, and they add so much to like the core of like the personalities of the songs, especially when they're more prominent. Yeah, this explores that in really fantastic ways. Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, first, We're the Union's first record, the one I brought on, God, years ago. This is weird. We're old.
300 episodes later.
Was Who We Are, which was their debut record. And their debut record to me had this like sort of energy that I really, really loved. It mixed pop punk, ska, hardcore. Some of their albums got a little more on the hardcore side. Some of them got a little more on the ska side, but they never did that mix. And then Self Care came out, and I thought that musically it was a very good return to form, but there was something that, like, the lyrics felt forced at times. It was 2019. We were all pissed off about something very specific. And they went with the politics route, and it resonated to me, but it felt a little forced at times, because it was like, oh, okay, everybody's getting pissed at that guy for obvious reasons. We're gonna do an album
that
has
thing with Equifax and the credit scores was pretty wild.
It was awful. Yeah. So, but this one to me, like, does all of the musical stuff that I loved about Self-Care and comes out very, very strong on the lyric side. It has that, like, as I sort of alluded to, that like emo introspection, and the sort of working through oneself, but put through a ska lens. I think in the I didn't say this on the recording, I don't think, but there's the joke that if goths are like sad about the world and punks are angry about the world, like ska kids know the world kind of sucks, but like they want to bring everybody up that's there because like everybody's there to have a good time. And whether it's like old school like two-tone anti-racism stuff in England, whether it's this like dealing with like what are social constructs around like my personal identity and how I present to the world and all of that sort of stuff, and sort of looking at this as like okay, there's going to be people that don't accept this, but there's going to be people that do, and they're the people I'm going to ride with, I think is really, really cool. Musically, I think that if I can shout out specifically, their trombone player, Jer, who we have talked about before, I believe. They are an amazing trombone player, and ever since the band got them, I think their music as a whole has been elevated. And sometimes it's what you need is like one musician to like challenge the rest of the band to step it up. And I think Jared does that. It is third wave to me. There's a third wave influence that goes through this. I wouldn't consider it like radically different, like a fourth wave type of idea or anything like that, but like all of the packaging around this and the entire tone of it is really, really well thought out.
David, how would you describe this album musically?
I would describe this album musically as one of contrasts. The very bright and upbeat ska punk sound. I will say pop punk with ska influences is an interesting contrast with the lyrics of the album. And I'm going to go back to that, how the lyrics are what they are in contrast to the music itself. Like the fifth record breaker, Squiggles, has said, he is not a big fan of metal. And on various episodes of the podcast, I've said I'm not a big fan of pop punk. Don't much care for it. And I found myself enjoying that this had elements of things that I do enjoy. It had some horns. It had some riffs. It had some interesting lyrics that told some stories. And it was a little more than I expected. And I would say that if you're someone that it isn't necessarily receptive to pop punk and ska punk, this might be one you might want to give a shot.
Curley, how would you describe this album musically?
I mean, honestly, my biggest takeaway from the almost 3 listens through that I managed to. I started off obviously just passively listening to it while driving home today, and I immediately hit with horns, and I was like, okay, I'm in. This is fun. This is a great time. It's great. And then, as you do when you listen to albums, you start to hear, what the actual lyrics are and whatnot. And I was just like, oh, it's a little heavy. It's great. It's good. I'm a big sucker for real talk about mental health stuff. And there's a lot of that in this. A lot of dysphoria, a lot of like disassociation. I felt like with a lot of stuff, which typically happens with someone as they discover their transness. And it just kind of felt like a lot of that was coming out. But at no point in time did it not seem like it was just trying to entertain you and give you a good time, which I just was like, yeah, I could just listen to this. There was a couple tracks that on my second listen through, I was like, oh, now I'm getting what they're talking about, and it's heavier than I was even, but I was just still bopping along in my car like on the first like playthrough, and I was like, yeah, this is great.
Big River, I feel like it's Bigger River.
we'll talk about it when we're talking tracks. Yeah.
But yeah, for me, yeah, it was just like, it's everything I eat up. I was like, oh, you guys freaking picked a green album for me to come on in the Record Breaker show with, because it's great. Like,
yeah,
I dig it. I dig. I mean, what did I bring to you guys before? Like, I think I gave you guys a Cursive album before. Like, you know me.
And then Bowie's last album, which is
me loving heavy, very deep lyrics that take many listens through to enjoy the full depth of, but then also can just be bangers that you can play at a party and no one has any idea that they're listening to a mental health podcast. You know, like, it's great.
Yeah. What it's like, why am I crying in Skank Pit? Like,
yeah. It was like 3 songs in and I was like, oh god. Yeah,
let's talk about some of the key tracks. I'll bring out some of the tracks. Like Pasadena, starting off right off the bat, it hits you right off the bat with like the pop punk sound, pop punk style, and does it really well. And you know, the guitars are really fantastic, and the energy really sets the pace for the album. And then it gets even more ska in there. You get the ska, like this is more. It picks it up, as it were, in Morbid Obsession. Morbid Obsessions, which is, it's just a phenomenal track. It's one of the singles, and it's that for a reason. Phenomenal track, and this is where it really starts to explore the I think a little bit more really the themes and things like that, and the journey, and this is like Reed like telling her whole backstory. Like, this is okay, here's my origin story. Like, and it works really well, and it's fantastic. Broken Brain, like that one resonated with me.
Self-explanatory. Just in the title, you don't need
Broken
anymore.
Brain. You know, it's like that line. It was like, I it's not that I wasn't listening, I was just struggled with attention. Is like, like, it's right there. I love
lost in your thoughts, you know.
Yeah, lost in my thoughts again. It's my life. I love the defiance of Boys Will Be Girls. It's like just a great middle finger to all the fucking transphobe idiots, and like, but it's ultimately, it does that at the beginning, and then just settles on just, hey, we're doing this hook where we're just celebrating us and celebrating each other, and that's where it settles on. And that part where they do that, it kind of is set aside, and no, we're focusing on the celebration, and it just is triumphant in that.
That was like the third track I listened to, and then I was like, oh god, we're going here.
Yes.
Great. And then I was like, I really appreciated the touch of it, because it's not trying to force feed you anything. It's just like, shut the fuck up. We don't care about what you're doing. We're doing our shit. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, we're good. Like, we're fine. We're happy. Shut the fuck up. Like,
shut the fuck up.
Exactly. My one objection would be is when it says we've heard your jokes. It probably should have just said we've heard your joke. But I imagine that would have gone over people's heads. But Wasted. I
love that, because that line there though is like, I have the lyrics up for it. It's like, maybe you should take a look in the mirror. Like, fuck you. Like, your ass is out here broken, looking like shit. Fuck you. Like, we're over here trying to be pretty. Like, die.
Oh yeah. Wasted is just a fantastic, like, thematically, and it's like the one where it's like, if nothing else got you for the themes, is like hearing Reed say, please someone inject me with iced coffee and estrogen. Like,
I mean, put that on my gravestone.
Yes, exactly. It's just fantastic.
My other favorite line from that one was one of the first things I heard. I think this was the first track that played for me, but the line "I had to quit cigarettes for the third time." I just dug that hard because I know
today.
it's yeah, like today. I know so many kids that are just like that's their punk lifestyle, right? Like yeah, I'm quitting again 3 times today. Like,
yes. Yeah.
super cute in dealing with a real subject of like actual shit. That's kind of like for me that was like the forerunner of the whole theme of the album was just like we're gonna tackle these like real issues in a playful way, like in a cute playful way, but it's actually real shit.
Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Well, we start with Pasadena. It's a crowd chanty song, which is a choice I will always dig to lead an album. Broken Brain. One, thematically, well, it's called Broken Brain. 2, this feels so Planet Smashers it hurts. This feels like it could have been ripped from a Planet Smashers record, which I'm never going to be mad at. Planet Smashers are one of my favorites.
Speaking of a band we did early, that was one of our beta episodes, God. I believe.
Was it? That tracks. That tracks. I should bring it. Sorry, getting off topic. Boys Will Be Girls. The bass line in this song I think deserves special attention. It is a flourished walking bass line, but the groove that it has and keeps throughout this song I think is great. In Big River, holy shit, Big River says a lot with a little. It is one of those songs that like ska and punk rock do really well in my opinion, which is the hey, I'm going through this like weird thing, but like you're not alone in this. Like remember, like I know I'm not the only one that's going through this, so I know there's somebody within the sound of my voice that also sees the things I am seeing, and I think that's like what punk rock does really well. And
wear that heart on your sleeve.
Yes.
Ska does it really well and has been doing it well since the 50s. Punk rock does it well, but also it's a two-tone song. It lives in that like slow mid-tempo, which is just awesome. Grade A quality stuff.
Diagnosis, Depression, and Dysphoria. Like
amazing.
Yeah. David, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Short Circuit. It stuck around long enough for me to dig it without it ending suddenly and abruptly, which is kind of how I felt about Morbid Sessions. I really started to dig that song and then it just stopped. That was kind of disappointing. Broken Brain. It's a song about ADHD. It's about trying to give best attention to something, but needing 3 other things to go on at once for it to make sense, remembering past conversations and agonizing over the mistakes you make. It's a song about ADHD. And hey, everybody, I'm going to make a Dream Theater reference. There's a song on their new album called Invisible Monster that is about social anxiety. And it has a much moodier tone and a much darker vibe. And this is not that musically. It is talking about all of these things that someone that has an attention disorder and might have been on Wellbutrin for the past 2 months might experience and might have gone through and might have some experience with. And it's fairly accurate, while also the contrast of the ska-punk that is happening. And it's kind of a joy. Boys Will Be Girls. I was listening to this song, and of course the message is not subtle, but I'm wondering who in particular had that Miss Wolcott had in mind when she was writing this song. Because I was thinking about this, and I was wondering, is it one specific person that she wrote this song towards? And I thought that was a really interesting thought from that song. Wasted, I absolutely loved the vocal melodies in this song. I thought they were really well written. I felt like if there was someone that was a really strong rock vocalist, like with a really big voice, this would also really work in a different context. I think If you go back and listen to the song Wasted, the vocal melodies in that song are really, really strong. And I think the centerpiece of the album is Big River. I think that and Broken Brain are really the two centerpieces of the album. And the second verse of this song is a ska breakdown right in the middle of a song expressing the strife of gender dysphoria. It's fascinating.
Yep. Yeah. Curly, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
I think I mirror mostly all of you with this. Morbid Notice Sessions was great. Broken Brain was great. Boys Will Be Girls obviously great. And Big River, I think I mirror that. That was one that hit me pretty hard. I don't think anyone mentioned Ordinary Life. That one was one of the first harsh ones that I kind of felt. That one kind of hit a little deep, like dealing with the actual. Yeah, I mean, like it was still like upbeat and everything, but it was like some of the lyrics were just like it pulled me into a more introspective kind of situation. But I would say that the one that kind of hit me that I actually like, I was literally because it was it's actually the last track, December. That one hit me a little hard when I was just like listening to it here. I didn't have it in the car. I just heard it the first time while I was sitting here getting ready and everything. That one felt real because it's not upbeat. It's almost like I mean, I don't know if I'm interpreting it wrong because I only listened to it about maybe 2.5 times. But it felt there's a lot of tropes here that happen if you're in the community of this kind of stuff that kind of reappear for everyone that goes through it. But it felt like a saying goodbye to your previous self, which is a little bit really hard.
That's how
I felt it, right? I hope I'm interpreting that right. I don't want to.
I mean, that's.
I don't know if we're right, but that's how I kind of got it.
December is the death, right? Like, yeah, that's the idea. So I don't think you're off in that. I think there's a couple of times where he flirted with that idea of like other people are going to have to deal with the sort of passing of the old me, and I feel like December was him dealing with the passing of the old me.
Yeah, because that is usually what happens. Like is that you not only is everyone else getting to meet the quote unquote new you, but it's the you that you've always known, and then it's also like they mourn it and you mourn it, and that's fine, and that's something you have to deal with. And a couple of the lines in there really kind of hit me in the soft spots. Is it like lines like is it real if we don't swim in the shame? Like wallowing in the fact that your entire life you had this, like, even if you didn't notice it, it was this fear and shame that was in the corner, and it's like now you're all of a sudden able to feel like you, and you don't know what reality's like without hating yourself, which is a weird thing to like lament saying goodbye to.
Yeah.
It is a bad thing, but it's also like that was you for 30 fucking years or whatever. You know, like that's a hard.
That was her exploring like killing that person.
Yeah, it is that. Like I have seen people express this in like web comics and shit where it's like you know, you in the gender that you represent or you identify with, like kicking off a cliff the old you in the gender you don't identify with and being like, I am in charge now, bitch, like bye. And that kind of shit is real. Like the You'll Be Dead in December. It hit me really hard. I had to listen to that one a couple times. I actually had to stop like getting drinks and setting up mixers and shit, and I just sat down and listened to that one like a whole time on my own.
Yeah.
It was the only difference between a garden and a graveyard is what you bury in it. Like that. Fuck. But yeah. Anyways, that I wanted to highlight that one at least.
Exactly.
It's dealing with knowing that the journey of who you want to be comes from the past of who you were, and like dealing with that in I know the new me is gonna be better for me long term, but still dealing with like but like I could just not, and like. But growth
you can keep playing the game, right? You can keep playing the game. You can do it your whole life. You're already done it this long.
I can stay in cover, or I can.
It's so much easier. Why would I want to bring this upon myself? I think
Yeah.
And again, I identify as a cross-dresser at this point and not anything else. So for whatever that means. But there are so many points where I would literally was like, I remember the moment that I was like, I think it was on fucking stream that someone had brought something up, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to dress up in like clothes and whatever. Like I used to do that, but I learned that I can't because people get mad. And then I was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I used to paint my nails too. That was weird. But I learned that no one likes that when I do that. So, and then like it just kind of like clicked with me, and I was like, why the fuck am I not like doing what I enjoy? And then I was like, that moment where I was like, oh God, am I this? Fuck, I have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Can't I just not have to deal with this? Like, I don't want to do it. I'm still that way. I'm like, ugh. God damn it, I'm queer. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's just like you should celebrate it, but the first thing I had in my head was, God damn it, another thing I gotta fucking do. Okay, all right, let's handle this. Let's do it.
And nothing makes it easy. Like you
pitter patter, let's get at her.
Yeah, nothing makes it easy. Like we have like all of our friends, and like everybody was like, yay, but it doesn't necessarily make it easy. Like
we
there
all
can't
know
be two of us forever.
You all know that family member that you don't want to figure certain shit out about your personal life.
Yeah, no. Oh man. All right.
What I really will say is, and I already said
I've already been pretty much confirmed as the family outcast. So
yeah, I don't talk.
Too late.
Got him.
But yeah. Let's bring it back around the horn, talk about some conclusive thoughts. Drew, what will be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
Well, as we have that mighty discussion, there are certain genres and certain artists that I feel like have always been a voice for marginalized groups, voices for the voiceless, the voices of those. Hold on.
Daddy Drew just kicked in, and I got scared.
No, I can't. I couldn't hear myself think. But that's sort of what you get from that, right? And punk rock and ska have always been sort of that. I think there have been albums where it speaks to a group of people, and it speaks to them in a way that is both honest and hard, but also joyous and a celebration of like what can be. I said it when we listened to Art Pop. I believe I said something similar when we listened to Montero. And I'll say it here too. This is an album that not only can resonate with somebody who hasn't dealt with that personally, but can inform. The music, I think, is best when it can inform on things that, like, you maybe haven't experienced and don't understand, or don't know what's happening. And I think this album does that really well, and can speak for people, and at the same time give people a viewpoint in on what it is and what can happen and like how people feel about this. So it's something that, like, when I first started listening to We Are the Union, I never thought I would be like, yeah, no, this is something that like is super important for discourse as a whole, not only within the ska community, but within music in general. And I think that's what this is, which is fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. David, what will be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I am of two minds on this one, Petey Rave. Should I be a babyface or should I be a heel?
I ride that Cody Vader if you feel like it.
So wait, hold on. If he's being Cody, is he a heel or is he a baby face? Because the last 3 months, I haven't known. So
yeah.
Okay. How do I put this? I feel like when I was listening to this album, there was a certain image that came into my head. And take any kind of internet personality, content creator X. And the idea is this person, for whatever reason, is going through a great deal of personal issues and a lot of strife, a lot of internal personal strife. And then they put out a YouTube video and they just start bearing their soul to their audience and they start crying, and it's very genuine and very raw and very emotional. On one hand, you admire and respect this person for being as honest as they are with their audience, and that is something to be commended, especially as an artist. And on this album, that is done very, very well. On the other hand, some of us will look at a situation like this and it will be a little awkward and a little uncomfortable. Whereas you want to empathize with this person, but at the same time, seeing this person bare their soul like this out in public, it's a little weird and it's a little off-putting. I'm of two minds with this album, and I'm not really sure how I feel. But overall, musically, it was a great listen. This is a genre I don't usually love. But my biggest complaint about this album is that the songs ended so quickly. I would get into them, and then they'd be over before I was really starting to really get into them, and that's no fun. I loved the guitars. I loved the tone. I thought she has a really good voice. I think as far as instrumentation, I could feel the low end in this band, and that was really cool because so many times with modern rock music, that is a problem, but I could feel the low end. I could hear the bass. That's high points there. And as an album musically, I thought it was really enjoyable, and I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought.
Yes.
Because he said it David said, makes you uncomfortable at times, and I will agree with that. But I will say that sometimes my best understanding about what's going on is the times when I've been the most uncomfortable. We were talking before the show about someone like a Kendrick Lamar or a Killer Mike. Sometimes listening to what they need to say has made me uncomfortable, but you learn from it, right? And I think that
Absolutely.
For some people, this album is necessary for a learning experience.
Mm-hmm. Curley, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I'm just going to continue the conversation like we were just having a conversation. Yes, the continued learning experience is a thing that's interesting in music, and usually when an album is trying to have a message, it's usually going to feel forced. It's going to feel that why you got to use this medium to do it. This album for me, and I appreciate you guys bringing me on for this. This was Curly crack. This was Curly cocaine. This is everything I want to smoke up and enjoy. I love when you use the medium of whatever art is your art, and you do it in an amazing way that is also, I think, elevated to the point where there was a lot of messages here. There was mental health stuff. There was dysphoria. There was trans stuff. There was a whole bunch of shit. but it never stopped trying to entertain, at least until December when it broke my heart. But for the most part, it was trying to entertain, and it did it. I mean, you could easily bop to this without even listening to the real lyrics of what's going on, and just be like, yeah, no, it's a banger. It's on the radio, whatever. It's great. I had a blast listening through it. Just like the other ones that I ever bring up, like Jawbreaker or Cursive or fucking, The Good Life and stuff. Like, a lot of people get on me for the music that I like, especially in the emo pop punk fucking world, where it's like, why everything's so sad in that song or whatever. And I'm like, I don't see it as sad. I see it as talking about real life. And that to me makes me happy. Yes, it's a sad situation that was happening, but it's real life, and it makes me not feel alone anymore. It makes me feel like I am part of something, and people are there and in the world, and we're not just some like random tiny insignificant single person. We all have these shared experiences, and that's what this music kind of does for me. It keeps me grounded in that I'm not sad, even though I'm listening to something very sad that is someone going through a very traumatic portion of their life. Yes. And the fact that they're able to talk about it gives me courage and hope and happiness, and the fact that maybe I can also understand this, and I'm not alone. And I think that resonates through every track in this thing. It's just real. It's real talk, and it's real talk. And I never get angry at real talk, because it's like this is life, and this is why we're here to help each other fucking get through this experience that's called existing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved everything about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is about processing that experience and processing that sadness, and it's not about being sad. It's recognizing you're sad and figuring out what that means and where you go forward. This album is, where like we were talking about the when an album has a message. This album, it's more like it's an exploration, and in that exploration a message appears. Like it's Reed exploring her feelings and what she's going through, not just in being trans, because there's a regular old breakup song, and then there's just a regular old mental health song, and like Wasted is just a general this is my life and where I'm going song, and then you have that line that is part of what that life is, and it hints that all of that together creates that message, rather than like starting from the message and then forcing the lyrics to try to make that message. It does a really great thing.
It felt like a and I don't know the details of the rest of the albums or whatever, but like it felt like your coming out message to your fans versus like your coming out message to your family or whatever. Yeah. And at the same time being like, I know what my role is here. I'm here to entertain you, but also here's what I'm going through, and this is what you like about me. So here's the raw shit, brah. Like, I really appreciate it, because to me that just feels genuine, and that's kind of what this is all about, right? Like you're making art, and it's you, and if your fans aren't into you, then what are you doing this all for?
Yeah. And we're talking about like the connecting with people, and when you're feeling like a little bit outside of the normal, marginalized. I've always had this idea of like, especially the internet and finding these communities out there, that in the past people that have been marginalized, if you imagine an actual margin of a notebook, you feel like your world is your line in a notebook, and you're there in the margin, in your tiny little margin all by yourself, and you only know the rest of that line. But you kind of like finding these communities, and especially online, you suddenly realize, oh, there's other margins of the rest of the sheet. Oh, there's several sheets with their own margins. Oh, there's all of this, and you feel connected to something even larger. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, it looks like a small slip, but in all of it, in totality, it doesn't feel, you don't feel as small anymore. You look at all of that space and all those lines, and you don't feel as you feel as connected to what just taken on its own is a very large thing. And this explores that well, and it's also just a really nice, deeply personal album, and it's also just a really fantastic showcase of ska-punk and ska, and like,
it's all of that, and also a fucking banger. It's great. You know?
And it picks it up and is fun. Is a fun record. It is a celebration. It's a celebration. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a celebration and acceptance. And
I was gonna do the Rick James, Charlie Murphy, but we can't do that anymore.
It's illegal. It's illegal. It's against the law.
Yes. Yeah. It is fantastic. At the end of the day, that's the main thing. It is emotional. It's personal, but it is super fun.
I have about 2.5 listens through it, and for your listeners, I had a fucking blast. So
yes,
bang on that shit. It's free on Bandcamp. Buy it.
Yes,
enjoy it.
But now we get to, those are our thoughts on the album. Now we get to the main event of the evening, the moment we've all been waiting for, our haiku reviews.
God damn
it. Let's get down
been on this
to
show before, Curly.
I forgot. Drunk, also doing things. Working.
We get down to the nitty gritty. Haiku numero uno. Drew, what is your haiku?
A blast from my past. Some deep lyrics and great horns. Open up the pit.
Mm-hmm. David, what is your haiku?
Your authentic self is who you should always be. Go enjoy the pit.
Mm-hmm. Curly, what is your haiku?
All I've wrote so far over the course of this, I love this shit, bro. Give me all your real talk, bud. And I didn't read the last line. I want to have more. Done.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. That's all you need. That's all you need. We wouldn't have even hated you. Just ended with elevator.
Elevator. Oh my God, that's mine.
That's the classic.
Don't help him. He's here for the next few weeks.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'll have one. I'll have better ones in the future.
Yes.
Petey, you need to coach these kids a little harder.
He told me
these kids up.
He told me at 5:57. Oh, by the way, also remember you need a haiku.
Yeah, it's like
Petey, you're gonna have to coach these kids up.
Yeah.
And I was like,
or
shit,
I will.
Shit.
All right. In the meantime, my haiku. Ska-punk anthems of the journey to find true self and celebrate it. Yeah, those are our thoughts on We Are the Union's Ordinary Life. Check it out on our Spotify playlists. Play Record Breakers, a home game. Do your due diligence and your due diligence. We got 2 playlists up there. One with the episodes and one without. So you can pick your poison right there. Follow along at home. On that Spotify playlist will be next week's record. And it's going to be provided by David. David, what have you got for us next week?
Brothers and sisters, non-binary siblings, Petey Rave, Record Breakers listeners and fans. It's time to make the gang suffer. 1970.
That'll be next week, and this is this week, and you can of course find us
You are finally awake.
What? What happened? What happened? Drew, did you see that?
See what, man?
Next week's album?
Oh, that's me. We're gonna go into a tunnel in a car with a man from Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Dawn FM, The Weekend.
All right, that'll be next week, and this is this week. You can of course find us all over the internet. I guess Brett is a Hibbity Beaver. Brett's here. Drew is at Exclusive Rex. Curley is at places DrunkKidsGaming or not. I'm at Petey Rave. The show's at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com is the email. Rebelli.net for this and other shows. Rebelli TV on YouTube and on Twitch. Follow, like, share, see all the
Smash
live
that
shows.
bell.
Yeah, you can catch us live playing D&D. I also do a Witcher stream with Daisy, and all the other streams, including my Mass Effect playthrough. Be sure to hang out with us further on. Watch the live streams, watch the podcast episodes. Thank you, like, share, do all things. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Toodaloo.
Shut up, Luna.
Annyeong.
Go away.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.